iPod's being stupid. There we go.
Alright,
Perfect.
I gotta open up my chat here.
Alright. Oh, nice. Here I am.
There you are.
I see, I see. Buddy. Nice. Okay.
Oh no, I accidentally deleted it. Oh gosh, I just typed it all out.
Deleted what?
Oh, let's see. I was typing out a message there.
Oh, gotcha. Right. So I guess the first thing we could do on the live is react to your new video, right?
Let me see here. Just putting in a little hello there for you.
Mm.
All right, let's see. Hey, Josh is here. All right.
What up,
What's up,
Josh?
Josh? From Squatch Topic PA. That's Josh.
That's nice. Hello,
William's
hello.
here.
Yep.
Yep, I got William here from WTCW Paranormal from Virginia.
Mhm.
Brought him on. We're going to talk about some ghost hunting, some adventures we've done, and some new things that we're doing.
Yep. All things paranormal.
Yep.
Uh,
All right. I
So,
want to make sure my chat box is up here so I can see everybody. I had to open
yeah,
a new window for that.
gotcha.
All right. What did I do? Bump something there. Oh, you can see that in there.
All right. Let me do it real quick. Uh,
I'm going to block this one out for a moment.
um,
Okay. So you were working on a new investigation, you said, right?
yeah. So I'm working on a place called the Elizabeth River. I have a script that I just finished writing actually about it.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, so I'll read a few things. I'll read a few things off my script. So, the Elizabeth River has a long history tying all the way back to the Native American peoples. As the city of Chesapeake, which was the city Elizabeth River is in, was industrialized, more people were frequently fishing and boating along the river. With the increase in population, there is an increase in pollution and deaths as well. Allegedly, over 10 people have drowned in the Elizabeth River, and that's been in the past 15 years alone.
Hmm.
I said, I caught a voice in the spirit box even saying that 1,000 people have died, which is true. I said, how many people have died here? And it says 1,000.
Wow.
I was like, I said, that seems like a bit of an exaggeration, but I'll take your word for it.
Now I kind of jumped the gun, I guess. Why don't you tell me about your channel? I noticed when I was checking you out your channel name is your four of you, right?
It is. So it's the first initial of me and a few of my friends. So I run everything. So I'm the first W. I edit, I post most of the content, but I have three other members. So my friend Tate and my friend Chris, and then there's another guy that this video is made with. So it's me and the other William.
Okay.
So it's WTC William Tate Chris William.
Okay, I got you. And how
Yes.
long? I seen what you've had content up for about a year. Is that when you
Mm.
started? About a year ago?
Yep, I left my first video up. It's kind of bad in my opinion, but I mean, I didn't want to, hide anything. It's good
Yeah, I got
learning
you.
experience. So kept that up, and that video was made the same day the channel was made itself, actually. So I've been doing this for about a year and like maybe a month, I think.
Okay, cool, cool.
Now I think you were on the other channel, but this channel you've done for how long? Not as long as I have, I don't think, unless you
No,
deleted.
this channel. I think I'm going on about a month and a half on this channel.
Yeah, you grew pretty quickly.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, a month and a half on this channel, and then I was on the other channel for a couple months.
yeah,
I'm pretty new to like really doing any of this in paranormal investigating. Um,
right.
I had some personal experiences that kind of started getting me into it several years ago, and I just took a chance and wanted to get more involved, so I just started and
So,
I'm
like,
continuing it.
what, you elaborate on that? Like, what exactly did you have happen to you that made you think, like, whoa, okay, like maybe this stuff is
Oh,
real?
the first story. I guess we could trade first stories out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, mine like I in my life I hadn't really seen much or experienced much. And probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I was married
Mm-hmm.
then, and I had my ex-wife and my kids were telling me about some things that were going on in the house, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was trying to debunk whatever the problem was, and I wasn't quite sure, what they were seeing because it was hard for me to believe some of the stuff. But I
Right.
mean, I didn't like not believe them, but then it's like one of those things where you try to experience it for yourself or try to see what they seen. Um, and I worked with a friend who had a girlfriend that was a paranormal investigator, and I found this out when I was telling him the stories. Um,
Right.
and I wanted to like he brought a team over to my house to check it out, right? They went
Mm-hmm.
through, they got some EVPs. I seen some things with the spirit box and lights getting turned on and off to like answer questions. And then when they left, I was still a little bit skeptical because I was like, well, maybe whatever it was came with them because I was trying to do the same stuff they did after they left, and none of the stuff would happen for me. So I was
Right.
kind of like, I'm not sure. Like I had still a lot of questions in my head about whether or not these things would happen for me. And I tried my own like investigation of my home. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and my one son was with me. We turned off all the lights and breakers. This was on a Halloween, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I used
Right.
my phone to record on, and I had it sitting on the countertop, and I had an EMF detector, and we were just asking questions to see if anybody was there. And I got some weird spike on the EMF detector, which was like full sweeps on the EMF, back and
Yeah.
forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I was like, wow, that was interesting because the breakers were all off for the house. There was absolutely nothing
Right.
putting off any
Power.
power, right? And my phone wasn't doing it. So I verified that. I checked it with the phone after I saw that, and I'm like, my phone didn't do it. And then the rest of the night, nothing happened. We didn't hear anything or see anything. So then I kind of didn't put much weight into that investigation. I was like, well, nothing really happened as far as I was concerned.
Right.
And then like 2 months later, I was going to pick up my at the time my brother-in-law, and I dialed his number on my cell phone. This was the same phone I used that night to record the audio. And I
Right.
was waiting for the call to go through. And before the call connected, this was the most insane thing. This is what drew me in. Like I was hooked. There was
Right.
a voice spoke to me through my phone. It sounded like a robot, and it said, "Hello, Michael." I mean, the voice was really robotic-y, but the "Hello, Michael" was very clear. And that's when I was like, holy crap. I'm like, what was that? And then in my stunned silence, the call then went through. And I was just sitting there like stunned. I'm like, and my mind went back to that moment when I had my phone there and the EMF detector. And I'm like, something happened, and somehow something is now talking to me through my cell phone. And it did it 2 other times after that. But I could never understand what it said. Like, it's so robotic-y, and it was talking to me, I could never understand what it was trying to tell me.
And that's one of those things that kind of baptizes you by fire, where there's no way you can explain literally your phone saying like, "Hey, your name," when dialing a call. You know.
Yeah. Let me
Um,
make sure I'm still. Let me make sure I am still private or public. I'm gonna make sure that I'm still open up the public here.
yeah, yeah, you're still public. I see.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure because I've had weird things happen with the streams before where I lose connection, and if you ever have that happen when it tries to go back, if you just reopen it, it'll be private. So I just kind of had a worry there. Okay.
yeah, I have everything's good, cordial.
Yeah.
My first ever experience. So what? Now became like a paranormal investigator, more like amateur. Obviously, it's not like my job, but I
Yeah.
started
Same.
getting an interest in that stuff. I've always had like a curiosity about it because when I was a kid, probably like I think it was the second house I ever lived in. I was like maybe 7 to 11, I'd say about. So my not to overshare, but essentially what was happening was that house's the two previous owners died in it.
Oh. All right.
And so for the first few years it wasn't anything crazy. But I think maybe when I was around maybe 9, things really started picking up. Um, so essentially, so some of the first memories I have. So I had a bedroom. So it was two stories. So if you walk up the stairs and look to the right, all the way at the end of the hall, there was my room. So the first little red flag, I've never really had nightmares like ever. Like I've never really had a problem with that. So like for a few months, I'd have really bad nightmares of things walking up there and walking towards my room and that type of thing. But at the same time, it's like I was younger, so I was just a kid, and that happens. But when it starts actually getting weird, was I would have this thing where I'd wake up halfway in the door frame with the door open, laying down with my legs facing towards the staircase and my torso facing my bed, literally as if I got like dragged out. And I don't have a history of sleepwalking or like anything like that. And I would literally, at like the peak of when that was happening, I'd wake up like 2 or 3 times, like in one night, in that same spot,
Hmm.
in that exact same position, like constantly. And I'd also wake up under my bed sometimes, which I
Wow.
mean,
That's weird.
if you roll off your bed and thunk on the ground,
Sheesh.
gotta wake you up.
I was gonna
But
say also if anybody, Josh, or if anybody has any questions for William, or for me, you can go ahead
yeah,
and
yeah,
fire them away. Fire
mhm,
them away, and we'll answer them. I'm sure William will answer them.
yeah, yeah.
I
So,
I like. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
so like it was starting with that where I'd wake up like literally suspended in my door frame, like looked like I was dragged, and you can explain that away. When things got really bad, so the main center of where the paranormal activity was happening wasn't my room. So you know how I said from the right of the staircase there was my room at the end of the hall?
Yeah.
Directly to the left of the staircase was my sister's room, which was the master's bedroom where the two people who had died lived in there.
Oh.
So that's really where the activity was, and that's also where the attic was. And I mentioned that specifically because what started happening with my sister was my sister got the worst of it. I just kind of got after like secondhand waves of paranormal activity. She was at the center of it. She literally, so what was happening was she'd go to sleep, and every night her bed frame faced the closet, and in the closet was the attic. And she'd sleep with the closet door open because she was scared of it, right?
Hmm.
So she every night she'd wake up and her attic would be cracked. Like it would be cracked, like facing her. Like you could literally see her from the attic. It'd be
Wow.
cracked every single night. And she'd wake up with her attic cracked. And then it started picking up more where she heard footsteps above her room. Then it starts picking up more where now literally one day what happened was she had this big poster of a husky because she used to be obsessed with them. One day she comes home from school, starts crying. Her poster in that closet is torn in half completely,
Wow.
just annihilated. which was crazy.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like something was not happy about her or
territorial.
both of you being there, or trying to get
Yeah,
attention.
right. So I start getting curious because I was younger and my sister's having stuff happen. So I would she had a second bed in her room because my sister Sage would sleep there sometimes. So sometimes I'd sleep in Sage's bed. Now I remember one night when I experienced something. One night she had this little doll. Like it was this little like dog that she'd have sit on her bed. I would I'd be laying down, right, and the doll would be next to me. And I'd look at my sister and talk to her, and I'd look, and the doll would be on the floor.
Huh. Wow.
And we had two people in the room. So the first time I was like, "Oh, Annie, you did that! Like, come on." Her name's Annie. You did that. So she's like, "No." So I pick it up, I put it back in the bed. Then I look away again, and then boom, it's back on the floor. I was like, "All right, I don't know how you're doing this, but stop." 'Cause it's literally moving as soon as I look away, and I don't hear anything.
Hmm.
So I pick it up one last time and I put it on the bed, and then it just stops moving. It's just like I was like, oh, that's weird. So I fall asleep, and the next morning I wake up and it's just gone.
Huh.
It was just gone, just nowhere to be found, and I never found it.
Wow.
So, and then when the very climax of all this crazy stuff happening was essentially my sister kept having consecutive nightmares that she was being pulled closer and closer to her bathroom every night. And we did like an anointing of the house. And I don't know if it went away. My sister never talked to me about it. They did an anointing of the house.
Hmm.
Right? So not an exorcism. They just used the oil and the cross. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of it. I've never seen it done.
Yeah, so they did. So above every door frame, they took holy oil
Uh,
and do a crucifix here above every door frame, right? Now that worked for a few weeks. Now, in the few like months coming, I didn't see anything happen. So, but there was still this really creepy, oppressive vibe in the whole house, which I have something I've noticed about. Oh, hold
oh,
on.
um, Donna, you can't hear us?
Your volume might be muted.
My volume?
No, no, her volume.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
can you hear me in chat?
yeah, Josh, can you hear me too? Are you still there? Just want to do a check and see if everybody can hear me all right.
Okay.
Hear us.
Actually, hold on. Let me just turn on up the volume. Yellow.
Okay, loud
Okay.
and clear. Can you hear
Yeah.
both of us, Josh?
Yeah. It can hear both of us. I have the stream playing, so I
Okay.
just turn the volume. I can hear it.
Okay. Donna
So
can't hear us though. Donna,
yeah.
do you think you might be muted? Or
Uh.
she probably can't hear me to say to to say that. Let me type her message here.
Yeah. But anyway, so it was like it was my sister's birthday, so she had these balloons in the corner of her room. So I walked in her room one day, and finally mustered up the confidence. I'm like 10 years old. Like I was scared. And I was like, is anyone here? Like, be honest, seriously. Is anyone in this room? Because my sister was still at school, and there was just these balloons in the corner of the room. I said, is anyone here? Whoosh! Across the entire room, just whoosh, like the balloon just flew across the room. There's no ceiling fan in that room or anything.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right.
Wow.
And I'm out of that house shortly after. So ever since living in that house, I mean, I've been trying to seek some type of paranormal activity and try and
Trying to
kind of
trying to see if
more
you can capture something like that happening.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, that same with me. I always
So
wondered how something could get into a device of mine and somehow talk to me even though I was like it literally had to be in my device because it wasn't like I was in the same place and it talked to me. I was in a vehicle driving and it talked to me through the same phone.
yeah, that's kind of what opened my mental door, I guess, to paranormal. After all those experiences, I was like, you know what?
I'm going to
Let's,
try to get something on the screen here fixed real quick while we're
yeah,
doing this. Okay, all right, it is good. And
Um,
I'm going to
well,
change this to this here. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to get that situated.
um, what was I gonna say? Well, in a second we can jump into we could try and do like a live reaction of your latest video, and you can kind of expand upon your experience you had there and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah. I was watching that the Fairy Plantation House.
Uh-huh.
That looked like a pretty cool place. I mean, it seemed like a lot of history there and everything.
Oh yeah, big times. It was the plantation itself was built in 1691. It's old. It's
Yeah.
very and there's apparently 10 ghosts actively haunting the building if you look at their website.
Wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
I heard when you were talking about some of the history there. I was like, this place seems like this could be pretty good center for a lot of different kind of activity.
There was it was actually ironically when I was there, I didn't really feel any negative energy. Like I was capturing like evidence to an extent. I was capturing some EMF stuff, some EVP, like my flashlight, like all
Hmm.
sorts of stuff. I was capturing some evidence. Um,
Okay, Donna. All right, Donna, that's good. I'm glad you got it situated. She can hear us.
yeah, so I was capturing some evidence, but I didn't feel any like when you go to a paranormal location, you kind of just feel something's weird about this place. At least I can.
Yeah, my first place I went to, the first home I actually went into that somebody asked me to check out. Yeah,
Hmm.
it was heavy, man. I was like, ooh, like I
Hmm.
walked in and I was just like, it almost felt like that, like something almost felt like it was messing with like your like your nervous system or something with like your
That
sensory with your head, your eyes, and it was just like it had that moment where I had to like just stop for a second and like gather myself because it just felt like yeah, it felt like something
that's
was
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
it was
Like
crazy.
when there's a location with some seriously negative spirits, you can like feel it here and like here in your chest. But when I was at the Fairy Plantation House, now I stayed there all night because you're allowed to stay there all night. You just have to pay like some money
Yeah,
because it's a famous location. But
yeah,
I was capturing activity, but there was no like bad vibes. There was nothing. So that was actually a first for me, just having like this chill environment where it's
yeah,
like these just ghosts are around, which was funny.
yeah. And I know you also do some videos on some cryptozoology.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
know, my friend Josh there at the Squatch Topic PA, he's been investigating Bigfoot for a while, Sasquatch. So you might be interested, checking that out. And for anybody else who doesn't know, William's got a channel on YouTube, WTCW Paranormal. So if you want to check it out, I'd recommend it. Go to his channel and take a look at his videos. You can see like that plantation, the Fairy Plantation House videos. There's two of them. Some pretty cool
Hmm.
stuff there.
Yeah, I love making videos about paranormal and cryptozoology. Those are my two favorites. It said Sasquatch, Dogman, and a
Possible Wendigo.
possible Wendigo.
Yeah.
Is that what you like making videos about? I think I've made videos about Bigfoot, the Rake, and Mothman. I think those are the three I've made, but I'm planning on doing more. I was thinking about doing one about what's it called? I think it's the Wendigo actually. I was thinking about doing one about the Wendigo
Yeah.
or Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers. The Wendigo
Mhm.
was one that was a I guess you could say it had been a legend or even cited over in Helltown. I don't know. There was a documentary that came out on Hulu about Helltown, which was it used to be a small village in Ohio, which isn't too far from me, and there was a big legend of the Wendigo there. And if you ever really want to see something that has a lot of in-depth stuff about the Wendigo, that documentary had a lot about it, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
As that
Oh, I
said,
could watch.
Josh said You dealt with a rake at my old property. You had to move. Wow.
You seriously? Okay, so I had no idea you can deal with a rake and walk away living. Because from everything I've studied about them, they are like meticulous. Like they will stalk you until they can lock you down. But
See,
I
that's a little
mean,
bit out of my
prob
my realm. I haven't really delved into any cryptozoology, anything with that lore.
yeah, I mean, cryptozoology, I'm still not nearly as educated on as paranormal. It's one of those things where I'm still trying to feel it out a little bit.
Josh said he hated that thing.
Five of your friends have seen it?
Wow.
Gee. That's well, I guess it's not as stealthy as the legends tell it to be then, because if five people saw it just out there, then you got a faulty rake there, my guy.
He's just got some. He's got some gall.
Well, my cat is sitting on me. She's making me sweat. Get out of here.
I tell you what, though, after what I seen over here at West Branch, I
Hmm.
have some questions, man. You were coming
Uh,
out of an old mine shaft. Hey, Dillo, what's up, buddy? I got William on with us.
Hello there.
William's got a YouTube channel, paranormal channel, WTCW. If you,
Mhm.
in fact, William, if you want, type in your channel
Yeah.
link. Did you get one of the new, or did you get the address
Yeah,
for your
yeah.
channel? Okay.
Mine is. I just want it to be simple. It's literally just. Yeah. Here we go. Hold on. I gotta get my cat out of here. She does not want to get off my lap.
Okay.
She's.
Yeah, it's youtube.com/, then the at WTCW Paranormal.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
put it in chat.
Yeah. Okay.
I say, do you want to go ahead and react to the video you dropped?
Oh yeah, we
Uh,
can. We can. I
react to
know.
that?
I know we're talking about the rake and all that, and I know Josh is probably getting excited talking about this. Um, but I was saying the first thing you guys are talking about that, man. What Declan and I saw, I don't know what it was, but it was something. It was not a shadow or like some kind of like
Yeah. Could you could
not some kind of
see? Yeah.
transparent entity, or this was something, and it was big, but it literally moved like lightning. I mean, it we when I looked and I saw it, and he had to have seen it at the same time I did. It We caught it as it like went behind. It went from one tree past it. It went through an opening, and it went across, and we saw it when it like just went behind the tree as it was coming through an opening. And
Mhm.
I mean, I tell you what, it took me back. I had to like gather myself because it was not, this was like something there. And when I realized what I seen was like a being of some kind,
Yeah.
it shocked me a little bit because I saw part of it and I wasn't quite sure what the hell I was looking at because it was like it had something weird going on with what was in its head area,
Right.
and it was like it was just hard. I can't really even explain it completely except it moved like it was running, like it was on legs, but it was big, and it's almost indescribable, but
Oh, see,
it made me like pucker up a little bit when I seen it, man. I was like, what was that? And Declan
you
was the same. Yeah,
remember how you
like you
on
just
the
said,
phone?
Josh, the predator. Like, well, something about what it was going on with his head. Like there was just something around, like around the top of it that I seen that was big. Like the predator had those big, like I don't know if you want to call it hair or whatever it was. That was like, yeah, it had something like that, man. And it's just so hard to really explain it. But man,
Yeah.
it shook me a little bit. It
Yeah,
did.
I'd be nervous to go back there after seeing something like that because, like, I feel like with the paranormal stuff, you can kind of, it's a threat, but not physically. But when you see like an actual like creature, then it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and I've been kind of told and warned not to go back to that place months ago by a medium who warned
Hmm.
me about an elemental that he seen when he was trying to trying to look in when he saw where I was at. And
Right.
oh, you've caught something like a predator before on trail cams, huh? That's
Dang.
interesting. But he warned me of something that he said was an elemental, which I've looked up some things about elementals and being summoned, and he warned me about an elemental being that was summoned that he found that was trying to hide from him, and he said it was really like it was like a devil-like looking elemental, and he said it was like the most terrifying thing he's ever seen, and that was always in the back of my mind when he warned me about that. And now that I've seen something like that, I'm starting to wonder if possibly that could have been what it was. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see what it is, Josh. I'll even forward it on to William too, so he could see it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Dilla, how's your mom? Is she okay? I hope she's getting better. Dilla said hi, William. Dilla
What
Gamer.
up, Dylan? Yeah, can you? Elementals can be nasty. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, and you know what? I'm starting to think that's probably what I seen that night. I'm not. I honestly I don't know what it was, but I tell you what, it's it was something. In fact, let's see if we want to go take a look here. I'm actually I have to trying to open up another window here. All right, let me open this one up. We'll go. I guess we could just kind of
For the second.
As
start
time
from the
goes
beginning
on,
here.
you think you have an understanding of what is happening.
All right, off we go.
This is something that you talked about our equipment we use, right? Talk about like the devices.
yeah.
This Spirit Talker device I have. Every time I come down to this spot around here, I get see like right there. It told me be careful. Told us be careful, right? I've had this talk about witchcraft multiple times when I've been there, right? And there's signs of witchcraft there because there's a carving on a big pillar or a big stone slab, and there's part of what looks like a blood bowl with symbols of witchcraft on it. And
Right. And
I told Declan because he's never been down here before. I said keep an ear open and see if you hear something come across our equipment about witchcraft or about a demon possibly because I've had a demon come up, but I think that's because whatever it is there, I think the spirits see it, and I think that's why they avoided us that night is because something they knew something was there and they must avoid that, and I think they call it a demon. But I told him I said witchcraft will probably come up and something from Charlotte probably, and when we're
mhm.
walking the trail, it's just like you can't even make this up and you can't dismiss it. We're walking the trail and
Hell
we
is
heard a
that?
weird whistling sound. I got a lot of
I always
Bigfoot vibes.
wanted to go ghost hunting in real life,
But he
but I
heard
never
it.
thought that I'd be
He
going
heard the device talk.
to
You
locations
can't really
like
hear
these.
it right here because it's pretty low. I start laughing.
It said witchcraft.
Oh,
He heard it. He heard the device go off, and he goes, "What did it say?" And I said, and I'm laughing because I'm like, and I knew where we were at on the trail, and right to our left is the area with the broken piece of the blood bowl and the concrete slab with the carving. I mean, literally, right where we're standing when witchcraft comes up, right to my left, I knew it's right there. I'm like, we're right here at this point, and we got a message of witchcraft on a device. I'm like, you can't just dismiss that and say the device is just saying stuff because it's too consistent. And right there was a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
Phoenix,
And
what's up? You have gotten away with multiple murders in 2013. That's a
no,
weird thing to. Am I missing part of that, or is that the whole thing he said?
that's all he said.
Okay.
I think that's my
I don't
friend
know if you
Chris.
really want to tell on
Probably
yourself, but hey.
just ratting on himself.
But anyways, I was saying that was like you can't dismiss that. Like how can you try to say that these devices don't work. I know when they're working, and I can tell because you get replies and things will say things to you, and if you're familiar with where you're at, it's not just
Yeah.
BS.
Especially if you're educated on the history as well. Because if you listen, like if you're educated about a location and you really listen to like a spirit box or an EVP device, it'll say things that if you didn't already know the history, you'd be like, what is it even talking about right now? Right?
Yeah.
When I was at the Elizabeth River, I kept hearing the word, I was hearing blaze, burn, fire. I kept hearing that. And I knew by reading a few articles along the side of the river, there was a fire. There was like a building that caught on fire. And I was like, oh, there you go.
Odillo, I'm glad she's getting better. See, I've heard. I mean, I asked Ramona. I did ask her a little bit because I don't know a whole lot of necessarily specific things when it comes to like Native American with um, things they might make as far as healing or anything that might be what you'd consider some kind of magic or summoning. Because this elemental thing I heard about, I had some questions and I wondered if that was something that like with this history of where I live at this area, the natives for so long had lived here and then eventually got pushed out of here. Would they have done something to like? Can they have used something that I have no idea, like some kind of, for better lack of words, magic or something to summon something to
Right.
like just as like, well, we're going to make sure that since we're losing our land and you're forcing us off, we're going to leave something here to like destroy this land and to terrorize you. And I asked Ramona about that, and she said there's no such kind of magic with natives as far as like doing something like that. But I guess with witchcraft, there's a history of maybe doing that for, or maybe being asked to do that by maybe friendly tribes or something. They might ask to do that. Or in the case of West Branch, I think there were some reports of cults, groups of Wiccans that were there. And once they built the dam and they forced everybody off the land,
Yeah.
um, they may
This,
have done something like that if they were forced to leave, which they had to once the park got taken over. So maybe they had tried summoning something as a way of like just
yeah.
fighting back against them being pushed off and couldn't live over there around the park anymore. There's just that's all like theories that I have, but there's definitely parts where, like you said, people don't know what they're doing. It could have just been people who heard about the rumor of this West Branch witch and have come down there and tried to summon something or try to perform witchcraft because they feel like they're close to it there. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of possibilities, but there's signs all over it. Signs all over that park or of that area there. Um,
Dylan says mostly they summon those spirits to protect the sacred.
Sacred sites. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's why when I'm there, I'm always a little bit cautious and a little bit on edge because I try to like make known that I'm not there to invade.
You,
I'm not there to
yeah,
invade the space. I'm not there trying to take anything from it. I just try to convey that I'm there to like just talk to them. And part of that is like once I become aware of the elemental that I was warned about and things adding up, I'm cautious there, especially after what I seen when we were there. Now I'm like, I honestly I'm not so much scared, but I actually want to capture it on film if I can. If I could see it
yeah,
again, I want to. But then I'm a little bit more nervous now because I saw something and it wasn't a shadow figure. This was something that I caught a glimpse of that was like some kind of a physical being, and it wasn't like anything normal.
yeah, like a full body apparition.
Well, it wasn't. This was like something that was like this
Physical.
was yeah. This was I mean I saw parts of it move. Like I
Right.
seen physical parts of whatever it was. This wasn't like a shadow that moved or like what maybe just a partially because I've seen like an apparition of a person before,
Right.
like a smoke like figure move. This was like this the movement and everything was like this was a physical creature or being of some kind. And now that I've seen that, I do want to see it again, which is kind of probably messed up for me to say that. But
Yeah.
I am still a little bit even more on edge now about being there because being told those things and possibly thinking they're there and maybe hearing it talk to you, which I've heard something talk to me there. Now that I've actually seen something, now the pucker factor is a little bit higher now for me.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're
def-
right, Dylan.
so it's definitely a different thing to see, not like ghosts.
Right. Oh yeah, that's why this is like changed a little bit to me. Oh
To,
yeah, that's right. I was going to get to that, Josh, about the that area. This is a place I want to go, and I am hoping I can come up there sometime soon, Josh, because I really want to check out this area. And
Mhm.
this is by you too, because this was I don't know if you've ever heard of this, William. Did you ever hear of the Lord Dunmore's War, 1774?
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, and this
Mhm.
was he was the Virginia governor then. I read into this a little bit because this was really interesting, and there was like um, the the settlers were moving into territory that Indians hunted in, and there was
Right.
like a treaty for them to move, that they could go into these areas, and then they were being attacked by natives, and it started a big war, and it was through Virginia, West Virginia, I think, also Pennsylvania and Ohio, and it started like a big conflict. And part of the area that Josh has been wanting me to go check out, a church and a couple cemeteries, and part of the area was part of this battleground from this conflict. And
Yeah.
I want to go
I,
there and capture some of this. I want to see if I can capture something there.
it said it caused cannibalism and starvation. Now, with such like a dark, like deaths like that, especially, I feel like that could probably stir up some seriously negative paranormal activity.
Right, and the Indians were making it extremely. I guess you could say they were making examples out of their disdain for the settlers once they were trying to, because it was like they kept going back and forth at each other, and they
Hmm.
were mutilating and torturing the people that they've captured, the men, and then they would enslave the women and children. And I was reading about that, and they were like doing some pretty terrible things to these settlers once they captured them before they killed them. And when you got like that kind of trauma too to add into the whole war, the places that these things happened on, there's probably a lot of residual trauma there.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I'm sure if anyone, like, if there's any Native American spirits there, if they see, like, a European person like me or you and they see them walk in, they're gonna not be happy about it.
Yeah, yeah, and like a lot of the area I go to has got a lot of history of natives just living in this area back to ancient times. Like
Hmm.
the mounds over here, the mound builders go back to 300 BC. Is right by me here, and the history of the lands, probably even in West Branch too. And that's why like Ramona helps me a lot with giving me some helpful information about how to interact in areas that probably have spirits of Native Americans, with how
Right.
to speak to them, and how to um, basically present myself and behave and to communicate. And I think that's helped out a lot, especially at the Hopewell Mound, because everything's been good there with our interactions.
Right.
And I think that has to do with the way that you know I got the information I got from her helping me out.
Yeah,
And just made the
definitely.
interactions good there. I really enjoy going there. That place to me, it's been a really good experience there. Um, a lot of activity there. And did
Yeah.
you hear that EVP that I captured there of that? It's an
Yeah.
Indian. It's a native. Hey,
You
what's
got a
up,
few
Rugus? What's going on?
in between the French and Indian War and the Revolution.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
A lot.
I've never knew about that, Dillo. And then I looked up the history of it after Josh came to me with that, and I was like, wow. And I seen the area, and it covers the area right where he's at, and part over here close to me, but I don't know if it quite runs up to where I'm at. But that's
Yeah.
that's some pretty dark times there,
I
except
was
for
gonna
that
say,
part of that.
like those three wars are probably some of the like bloodiest wars America has ever seen alone. So for all of them to have it like stacked on top of each other,
Yeah, a lot of cool things happened then. Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah, that was an I don't know if you heard that one native EVP, but
Yeah, I think I did. You caught a few good ones, but I remember the one where you said it sounded like it was some type of
yeah, it
native.
said it was from the camera microphone too. It wasn't from my recorder.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it sounded like it said "Hey Tutoka." That's what it sounds like. Ramona said that in um, Lakota. Hey Tutoka is granddaughter,
Hmm.
and I also got Nana on the device up on the hill,
Right.
and I looked. My dad was looking up some stuff, and we seen that Nana was a term. I'm trying to think what particular native group, but there was a term for what ended up being the grand. It was like the paternal or the maternal's the maternal father. They called Nana,
Mm.
and I was
Yeah.
like, wow. I'm like, so that would be like a grandfather. And then here you got an EVP, which sounds like Hey Tutoka, and Ramona said that that means granddaughter in Lakota. And then I was able to connect a Nana to possibly meaning a grandfather. So
Yeah, so
that's pretty strange. I mean, that's
that kind of
really interesting.
that ties to what I was saying earlier. You kind of have to be pretty educated on that stuff to really understand what's going on. Because like for someone who isn't educated about the language or have someone like teach them what the words mean, they could be like, "Oh, it's just a random noise within the forest. That doesn't mean anything." But then if you like learn what it means in the language from Ramona or whoever, it's like then it's like, oh, it kind of ties together a little bit.
Yeah. Now we got a. I mean, I don't know. I've never been out like looking for Bigfoot, right?
Right.
So Josh, maybe anybody who's been watching, channels like Josh's or others that might have some better information about Bigfoot. I kind of just from a little bit that I've watched, I had a real like I don't know like a vibe of like stuff that reminded me of what I'd seen with others who were hunting Sasquatch. Like we heard rocks hitting the water. Now not like hitting the shallow part of the cove. These were like
Yeah, like deep
deep
splash.
splashes in the water, and they kept going, and like Declan heard them. I heard them too. I heard one specifically, and I think I heard some of the others, but he was closer to the water, and he said they sounded bigger than. Hey Jackie, what's going on? Thanks for coming in. We got William here. We got a guest. He put his channel link in the chat too, if you want to check out his channel. But he
Yep.
said it sounded like it was just way too big to be fish jumping up out of the water and coming down. Um,
Yeah.
and I heard it, and I kind of like agree too. Somebody mentioned that it could be the water moving the rocks in the shallow end with from the flow. But then I'm like, well, that could make noise also. But we didn't just hear like rocks banging; we heard that deep, like plunking, like the deep thunking in the water. So I heard a lot of that, and we heard a huge knock on the tree right by
Mm.
us. And it sounded like I heard the knock, and then you can hear it sounds like shatter of like
Right.
of stuff falling, like something broke, whatever hit it.
And I hear, people talk about, or at least some of the Bigfoot hunters, from the Bigfoot hunters I've seen, they say that he likes to stack rocks and like bang on trees with stuff. If I remember correctly. Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. I appreciate
If
it.
I remember correctly, you know.
Yeah, I got some cool channels in my recommended list too. If you check them out.
So
What do you say? Could be Sasquatch or possibly
Adlet,
oh, the Dogmen. Okay.
I don't think I've ever heard of dog. Let me
You
see.
know what? At this point, Josh, I don't. I kind of can. My mind's kind of open to possibilities after what I seen there that night. I'm telling you, man. Whatever the hell that was that I seen was
Hmm.
beyond. It's almost hard to even explain it. I tried, but it's like I can't really even explain it. But it was not a shadow person or a ghost. This was something, and it moved like lightning. I mean, like a flash, and it
Trying
was
to
it
figure
was big.
what an adlet is up here. I see. Adlet are a race of creatures in Inuit. Sorry if I butchered that. Mythology of Greenland.
Powwows. They have some good stories about Bigfoot and just some of the lore. They have some of the places around. Okay.
He says he has pics of dogmen.
Yeah, that Josh got some pics. Yeah, I looked at some of them. He sent me some, but I guess
And
there's some
then-
of these new ones he's got.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
And here, I'm going to go to that knock, actually. I want you to hear that knock.
Yeah, let me refresh my memory here.
I'm going to play this. I'm going to play it here.
Record you.
Wow. Let me go to this. Let me go to the okay.
Device. Or
Alright.
touch that one again. Ooh.
Did you hear that knock?
I did.
Yeah, if you listen, you can hear stuff. Like I heard stuff fall after the knock too. Like whatever hit broke. Like pieces, like kind of sounded like other pieces shattered off. And you know that was like literally, I would say 20 to 30 yards, maybe just across the ravine up this hill. I mean that was right there on the hillside by us.
I think I've only had like one type of like cryptozoology encounter. I think it was, so I was staying up in the mountains in West Virginia, and I was living in this like, so my dad has a friend who has this like big mansion, and they have like a farm in front of it. They're farmers, and they also flip cars. It's like a weird thing, but essentially they have this small trailer home nearby, right? So me and my family staying in the trailer home just to come visit, go for vacation, whatever. So it's super far away from like any grocery stores or anything like that. So my parents and all like the other people were off like driving 3 hours to go to like Walmart to buy food. So it was me and my two sisters. It was me, my sister Annie, my sister Sage. So we were walking down this like it's a farm, right? So there's this long path that goes all the way down like the hillside. And we were walking down it. It started getting dark, right? So we get to the bottom towards like where their road is. And so we're like, okay, we're at the bottom, it's getting dark, so let's turn around and start hustling. We turn around, we're going, and we hear from like one side to the left of the fence is like a big cage with cows and stuff, and then to the right there's just straight forest. So we hear from the forest to our right on the way back up just like this crazy, like inhuman type screech. It literally sounded like, I don't even know. Initially we thought it was foxes fighting. Because if you ever heard foxes fight, they make this really nasty noise.
I heard foxes can make a lot of noises, a lot of odd noises.
Yeah, we heard like a really weird noise. We're like, oh, it's maybe just foxes fighting. But obviously that made us pick it up a little bit because it's getting dark and we just are hearing weird stuff. But so we get back to the trailer, right? So there's like one bedroom, a kitchen, and a living room. So I'm in the living room, they're in the bedroom, and we just hear, since it's a trailer, it has no roof. So you can hear everything on the roof, like clearly. So I just hear boom, 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 like literally as if someone stomped across the entire ceiling. And I was like, literally, what was that? So I go to my sisters, I was like, did you guys just hear that? Seriously? And they're like, yes, oh my god, what was that? So we're like, I don't know. And so there's a one window to like very far left of the bedroom. So I'm talking to them, I was like, what was that? And I noticed from the corner of my eye, I see this light traveling across the window, like almost literally a flashlight. Like someone was shining a flashlight and just like going like this, walking across. And I was like, okay, I don't know if someone's trying to rob us, what's going on. Turn off all the lights and grab the fire poker, because that was the only weapon we had. So we turn off all the lights, and I grab this fire poker, and we're all waiting in like the corner of the bedroom to wait to see what happens. Because that was our first thought. We hear thumping, and then we see what looks like a flashlight, right? So we're like, oh, we're getting robbed. So we're hiding in the corner of the room, and I have a fire poker, because it's the only weapon. So literally the entire time, you just see a flashlight in one window, like a flashlight traveling across my window outside. So you're like, oh, this guy's outside. And then you see the front door, there's another window on the side. There's another flashlight. So we're like, oh, I don't know if it's multiple people or what's going on. And I noticed every single, because it's a trailer home, so it's long. You can see like practically everything.
Yeah, this like you're looking in right here. This is one right here.
Every single window had a flashlight in it, traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Like there would literally have to be like more than 5 people to even complete this weird operation if it was a human.
Yeah.
So we were like, God, well, like literally, what is going on? So I called my dad and I was like, dude, we're like about to get abducted by aliens. I don't know what's happening. And that's like, I had no, because just like put yourself in my shoes for a second. Like you're up in the mountains and you just hear thumping and then you're seeing flashlights in every single window of your house.
Yeah, I'd
And
freak
you're
out. If I had a gun, it'd be out at that point, and I'd be
there was no
outside.
gun. So I'm sitting there with my sad little fire poker. Like there is either 20 people outside of our house for some reason shining flashlights in the windows, or we're literally about to get like abducted and get put on a Netflix documentary. And then so we're hiding for what felt like 20 hours, but it wasn't. It was more like 10 minutes, but it was very anxiety inducing. And then finally my dad comes home. Like we see him pull in the driveway. And the one window that didn't have a flashlight in it was the bathroom window. So then we were like, so we actually see him pull up. So that's how I knew he wasn't the one doing it. So I was like, I don't know what's happening. And no one believes me. No one. The only people, like if you were to ask my 2 sisters about it, they would say the exact same thing I said. But everyone else was like, oh, that didn't happen. There's no way. There's no way you heard it on the roof. And then I was like, man, I swear to God. It says, I've seen lights traveling in the wood with no source. That's exactly what's happening with me. It looked like the light was coming from a flashlight, but there was no bear. It was just the light. And it was crazy.
Hey,
That was
Rugus. Is it Rugus? Rugus? Probably Rugus. I'm doing good, Rugus. How about you? How you been? I believe because I've seen it many times. Yeah.
But that's probably the craziest story I have of like anything like that. Like people don't believe me when I tell them that story. I don't even blame them because I probably wouldn't believe me either if it didn't happen to me.
You know, like right at the point I've had 1940s come up on the device there before. I think more than once. So I was like, and I also had one time when I was going around from the area with the pressing site and the witchcraft, the blood bowl and the slab. Like I left that area and went around over to the cemetery, and I've had someone talk to me through the device that said, "We like music."
Oh yeah, and then you played the music and it was like
I thought about it, and I even like commented. It was in a video too. I'm like, oh, I'd like to play music for you, but I'd get hit by copyright for YouTube. So I was like, I wondered. I had 1940s come up, and I'm like, just by chance, maybe whoever may have communicated that was from that era. So I'm like, let me play some music, and I played it, and the response was like pretty good. Like it seems like there's multiple energy or spirits there, because I got a pretty quick like nice to meet you, which was kind of comforting. I'm like, okay, that's cool, they're enjoying it. And then not too long later I got a message that said get out, and I'm like, I always hate those messages because it's like, okay, I'm here to do this, to try to communicate and try to see, if there's some spirits here that want to talk to you, and then you get a message that's kind of like telling you to leave, because then it's like, well, is this, should I pack up and go, or should I try to like see if I can kind of calm things down? And at that point, I kind of thought maybe it was the music because it was pretty loud. So I tried to like, apologize for the loud music. And then I got more messages that wasn't so much telling me to get out. So we kind of kept going, and it seemed all right, but it seemed like somebody was pretty angry there, whoever it was, for a moment.
Yeah. I remember that part of the video specifically because it got like a slight chuckle out of me, whereas like music, and you play the music and you're like,
right here.
Yeah.
Here,
I was like,
this is it right here. Let me see if this is the part. Yeah, here's where I'm playing here.
Some classic tunes. What do you think?
You like that? That's nice to meet you too,
See,
my
I thought
friend.
things were going good there. You know, I'm like, all right, this is cool. They're enjoying this. And then I skipped some of it because I played the music for like, yeah, they said get out. And I'm like, oh,
What's
man.
the matter, my friend? I'm sorry, am I disturbing you?
They just said get out.
Oh. Well, okay.
Struggle.
I know, like, oh, okay.
And then I got struggle, which I think we talked about that when whatever the spirits are there and they might be trying to use the devices and they can't.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I thought maybe that's what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's
I kind of like put that into like, okay, it's not continuing with any kind of negative replies. So I kind of just kept going with it, and I didn't quite leave there until, you know, we spent a little bit more time there, and then we left. But that was like one of the things that doesn't happen too often there. I usually don't get, like, the mood was really off that night there, because I've been to this place a lot of times.
Right.
And I never get too, I think I've had a message or two maybe that said something to, like, leave. But it's rare. And when I got get out there, and on the other place, when we went over to the witchcraft area, I call it, where the blood bowl piece is, I got a message that said attack. And then that was on our way to the cemetery. And then when we got to the cemetery, I got attack again. And then there was another message, and I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm like, this seems to be a little aggressive or like just a little more hostile than it usually is over there.
Yeah, I
It's a little
probably
bit different vibe that night, and I think whatever it was that was there that I saw may have had something to do with it.
yeah, I got a really crazy like spirit box EVP type of device like response last night when I was at the Brit or the pipe on the Elizabeth River. We were sitting there and I was like I kept hearing river. I was like, "Where are you?" It was like river. And I was like, "I know, but like I remember exactly what I said. It was like I said, "Where are you?" And it literally said river. I said, "I know, but where precisely?" He said left behind. And I was like, man, like that was probably one of the like most clear responses, like back and forth conversation I've ever had with that type of thing.
And that is called that place you went to?
Yeah, the Elizabeth River.
Elizabeth River, okay. So that's coming out. You said you're going to be posting your video from your time there?
Hopefully by tomorrow. I wanted to get it out by today, but a lot of stuff popped up.
All right, cool. I'm definitely going to check it out when you post it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's pretty interesting. And that's something I keep trying to get it out.
Nothing crazy. Like I think I got a little bit better stuff in my fairy plantation video, but that's kind of like where I try to set my standard of quality is my fairy plantation video. That's probably my most favorite one I have out right now. But
all right, so on the second part, I picked up right when we heard the noise on the hillside. I gotta hear that noise again because that was like.
Ooh.
You heard it there.
Wow. Did you hear that?
That was
yeah.
a heck of a loud knock. You know, heck of a loud bang. That was.
Especially on wood, you have to really put some force on it to make that much noise.
And not too many people know this. I don't think I've really told anybody. I've told a couple people. The first live stream I did was here. And that hillside seemed to be, that night there, the hillside seemed to be a little bit active somehow with that bang. And we heard noises coming from up there. When I did my first live stream, it was at the same spot here. And when I was done, like this, I'm telling you, if you think you've been to a place that's dark, come here, and I guarantee you realize what dark is. Because this area in the woods there is like absolutely zero light that gets through this woods there. When I've gone there, I was just like automatically like, wow, I'm like, I cannot believe how dark this place is. And when I went there live that night by myself, the The creepiest feeling going to this place is going down the trail, the main trail before I get down into there. It's very eerie because it's a kind of a hike and it's so dark. I mean, you absolutely cannot see a thing. And I went there, and right before I finished, I was done. I shut the stream down and I was packing up. And as I was packing up, hey Ramona, Don say, I got William here.
Over
But
there.
as I was packing up, right, I was done and I'm packing up and I'm there, and then I'm just like putting my stuff away, and I hear something on that same hillside, right by that same area, and it's just huge. I mean, it was a bang of some proportion. Like I couldn't believe what I just heard. I'm like, what the hell was that? Like something blew up. It sounded like it was literally like right on that hillside.
Right.
And right nearby where that, right when I heard that slap on the tree or that knock or whatever it was, that's right about where I heard that huge bang. And when I heard that bang on the hillside that night, my ass puckered up, and I was like, I started packing my stuff up. It went from like putting all my stuff back into this nice little packages to I just jammed the crap in my bag, and then I started hauling my butt out of there because I'm like, what the hell did I just hear? Some loud bang.
Yeah.
So
I
there's
wonder if
something going on up there.
I wonder if it was trying to draw you into that area because it sees you're curious, right? Like when it says like get out and you don't
Hey,
stay, and it's
Roller.
like fun. Boom. Like,
Hey, roller woman, what's going on?
hello,
Yeah, I
hello.
know. I was just like, because I'm thinking, okay, it's Sasquatch, right? I'm out here on the hillside. I'm done with my investigation, and now I just heard this bang, and now I don't need some big 8-foot hairy thing come running down the hillside at me right now while I'm packing up my stuff. I'm like, I just don't need this. I'm like, I
Right.
don't like just running away when I got stuff around because I would probably have to run, but I know I couldn't outrun it probably. But yeah, like I said, when I heard that bang there, that moment there when I heard that took me back to that. I was like, I heard that huge bang right around that same spot on the hillside. I'm like, is that a coincidence? I don't know. But that was that. And this right here, I'm telling you, if you, I don't know if you could see it. Oh, here's this is the witchcraft area, I call it. I don't know if you've seen this.
This is the slab. If you look right here.
I had an EVP of a guy telling me I'm stuck
Here.
right there.
Yeah, this is the carving
Evening.
on the side. Good evening.
It sounds all nice, right? Good evening.
That's been identified,
And then
that
it
carving?
tells me after that.
Who saw it?
It says
They said it
attack.
looked like a rough Nokio symbol.
Right there. See the piece right here?
And there's the piece of the blood.
There's the
Oh.
moon goddess symbol right here. The woman with her arms over her head. This one looks like another woman's figure.
I wonder if it was
Figured it
two
was
like
probably
you
three
and one of them was like
around it.
attack.
Yeah, that was like, I'm like, good timing. Oklahoma
Right.
cryptid search team. Hey, what's going on?
Hello,
What is
hello.
up? Yeah, I think my theory was that this had the 3 symbols on here, the 3 moon goddesses symbols. They're like the witch's life, they call it, the symbol of the witch's life. The three forms. It's like the youth, the middle age, and then the elderly. And they show that in the 3 forms. And when I first looked this up and I identified that one symbol, it had the hands above the head like this in a circle. And I found that one is really clear as a Wiccan symbol for the moon goddess. And then I'm like, okay, this is probably a piece of a blood bowl. And
Yeah.
and then I seen the form as another woman, and I'm like, this has got to be the 3 symbols on it,
I wonder if So
Here you go. Here it is.
Probably.
Attack.
Attack.
Yeah.
Is that what it
First
says?
it's like evening, and then something says attack, and I'm like, what does this mean? I'm like, is this like some residual things? Does something happen here, or is it like there's just multiple like kinds of spirits there that are like, one's like, hey, good evening, the other one's like attack.
I wonder if it was I don't know. I don't even know. It's hard to tell these things.
Yeah. And then like this is funny because I've come under the realization and understanding that I believe that I have a guardian, I have a spirit, a guardian
Right.
or guardian angel with me, and she identified herself to me before as Charlotte.
Right.
And I've had some interesting interactions on here with Charlotte coming up on my device and have an EVP right after it, which was a strange one from the Hopewell Indian Mound, if you heard that one. But I told Declan about how he'll probably hear, yeah, Ramona, you do. She's always with you. Well, yeah, I've been believing it, and it's becoming more and more clear. And Declan, I told him before we left about having witchcraft coming up on the device probably, which it did right when we got by that section, which is like you can't put that off as coincidence. Charlotte rocks. And then I'm like, you'll probably hear Charlotte come up on the device too, because it seems like she's been saying her name on the device. So then
Right.
he just takes it upon himself at this one part, and he's like, I'm going to ask you a question. Is Charlotte here? And
Yeah.
and
Hey,
then
you
there's
said
an EVP, and it says yes. And when I heard that, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I sent that to him first thing. I'm like, here you go. I'm like, did you really think she wasn't there? I'm going to try to find that right now so I can play that.
after you said that, he was like, "Is Charlotte? I want to ask you a question. Is Charlotte here?" And it's like, "Yes." Like immediate.
Yeah, let me see. Where is... I'm not in full screen right now, so I have to go to full screen just for a moment. Okay, never mind. I kind of screwed up. Oh, here it is.
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Is Charlotte here?
Yeah,
Are you here with me? Of course.
Yeah,
that was
silly question,
weird.
Declan. But this part here, you got to see this reaction, because this, I'm telling you what, this scared me a little bit. Right here.
Huh. Okay.
When Declan and I seen whatever it was, this was the part right here. I was looking there
That light,
for something else.
that looks like it was just the light. Oh, what was that?
No, yeah, what was that?
Did you see it flash across?
I did.
I almost didn't want to move it
Okay.
first.
Yeah,
It
I
literally
was.
scared. It kind of scared me. It did. Because what we saw was
I don't think
it
I got it on
wasn't.
camera,
Yeah, like I
but
said, it
hope I
wasn't
did.
like some kind of apparition or a ghost. This was something pretty big, and it moved really fast. And we caught part of it moving across. And I couldn't even explain
I
what
did.
the hell it was, but it was something.
That actually is spooky.
Yeah, it was.
It looked like
It
I
made me
want-
realize there's something else there that's not just maybe spirits. There's something there that's I don't know what the hell it is, but it was very unnerving.
I mean, at least it seems to be more scared of you than we're
Yeah.
scared of. During the fact you noticed it and it was like, "Choo!"
But what makes me a little bit more uneasy, and I'm not sure if it necessarily means anything bad, is that it seemed like that night was very different because things weren't really interacting with us. Like, I've been to that cemetery site a bunch of times, and I've had interactions almost every time.
Right.
Something interacts with the devices. Usually it does. It's been regular, but that night it seemed really calm and like nothing interacted. And seeing that made me wonder if somehow the spirits that might be there are trying to stay away from it.
As you say, you think they cleared out? They're like, "Oh, he's
Yeah,
coming." I'm
right, and
gone.
some of those warnings may have been that, like the one that said like it warned us that she's coming, and Declan got a little freaked out. Which, by the way, Declan couldn't be here tonight. You know, I
Yeah.
have to bring that up to let everybody know he couldn't make it, but you know he's busy. So he did want to just put out a hello to everybody, and we'll have to talk to him about his experiences next time, because this was this one was pretty good for him. He had some pretty fun experiences to say the least.
And man,
Yeah.
what a bat by fire it is having this be like your first investigation, really.
Yeah, this was his second one, because he was with me at the Hopewell Mound, and that one was really cool. Like, he had a good time there. Like, we had good interactions there. This one was pretty good, but he was just like I am. We were freaked out about what we saw, and that we kept getting those aggressive replies, like attack multiple times to get out. And then the last one we left when it said leave this place. We just left because at that point we both realized, we're like, okay, we just seen something, and maybe something else is warning us now to leave. So we just packed up our bags and we're like, okay, we're gonna go.
Especially like with something like it's with the spirit boxes and the EVP devices. like get out and leave this place. Leave this place is a very like articulate way. Like,
Yeah. Here you go, William. You got a question from Roller or Woman?
what does
Yeah.
W acronym stand for, young William? It stands for, so it's a group channel. I run everything. Like, I post the videos, I edit, I do all that. But I have 3 other investigators who are my childhood friends, my buddies. So it's William, Tate, Chris, William. There's a second William, so WTCW, William, Tate, Chris, William. Yeah. And prior to making the channel, I ran into a complication that for some reason WTC and WTCW also have ties with wrestling organizations for some reason. So if you just look up WTCW on YouTube, it just shows like wrestling, and I was like, man.
Hey, Phoenix, what's going on?
Yes, yeah, that's Chris. Phoenix is Chris. He's
Okay.
the C.
That's the C. So we got the C here.
We got C here.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. All right. Well, yeah, I tell you what, though, here's another thing I just remembered with the cold spots here. Declan
Yes.
and I had some cold spots, and I'm telling you, these cold spots were like, I mean, you know, it was cold that night. It was probably like mid 30s. I mean, it was just above freezing. But
Right.
the area where we were getting the cold spots, I mean, it was like, it felt like I put my hand in a freezer, and it was right by the area of our hands.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very interesting. I mean, that was something that was way different. That, you know, I mean, we didn't have many interactions with the devices, but we had some really unusual personal experiences that were like first for me and first for him.
Yeah.
'Cause I felt cold spots, but not like that. That was way different. Those were extremely cold, like ice.
I remember for my Fairy Plantation House video, even another investigator, mine Tate, he said I was on the way downstairs to do an investigation, and they were in the Nana's room, and the Nana is known for just not liking people in her room, like at all, right? So I hear on the way down the stairs, I just hear my friend Tate. He's like, man, I just felt a big blast of cold air on my face. And I was like, oof.
Hey, Will,
But-
what's going on? Thanks for
Yeah.
coming in. Appreciate it.
That's the other W.
Oh, that's the other W.
Yep,
all right,
we're
so-
only missing T now. We're
Missing the
missing
C.
Tate.
All right, or T, missing the T. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, he's the one I did the investigation yesterday with. Smash that like button.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Thanks,
Matt.
Loader. That's a big thing, man. I've learned that too. Oh yeah. Also, before I forget, I have to thank everybody. You know, all the subscribers. You know,
Seriously.
who have been recommending, because the YouTube algorithm has been putting my videos down for some recommendations, and it's starting to increase. And my like the first part of this video, the first part of the West Branch Witch I think I'm over 2,200 views on it, and the second part here is already going over. This is it here. I'm at 600 and some views now after a day, and the algorithm has picked up my videos and has been recommending me, and I think it's because everybody has been giving the thumbs up, you know, the likes. That's a big part of it, and sharing. If you share and like, the YouTube recommendations will kick in, and that's how people will get to see your videos, because it's difficult, especially with paranormal, to get your videos out there, because there's so many things in the search engine for it. It's insane. Yeah, thanks, Walter. Like, thank you. Like, I really appreciate it. And my subscribers have gone up. That's like almost double, 224 subscribers.
Yeah. What was I going to say? My friend Chris says, the other one, fell asleep on the historical bed. There was a bed in the Nana's room.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. I saw
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And it, like everyone was so tired except for me, because I was serious about this investigation. I was like, no sleep. I think I got like 2 hours of sleep. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're all like totally dead, but I'm still up. I'm in the room with the dowsing rods. Like, anyone here?
Yeah, that's oh, go ahead. I was gonna say about the dowsing rods.
Yeah. One crazy thing though. So the other W, William Bateman, he fell asleep in the living room of. You said you watched the Fairy Plantation video, right? So you know the death room.
Yeah.
So he fell asleep on the floor of the death room. Actually, in the outro of the video, you can see him asleep and then Chris playing Uno on his
Playing
back.
that, so I'm throwing the cards on him. Yeah.
So he fell asleep in there, right? So we walk out. So he's asleep in the room for like 20 minutes, and we're just letting him sleep because whatever, right? So he comes back to the like dining area where me and two other investigators who aren't a part of my team were at WTCW Paranormal. He walks in the room and he's like, "Dude, something just woke me up. Like I feel like something just picked up my leg and just dropped it." And it was crazy hearing this from William specifically because he's like more skeptical, like no BS. If something happens, he's just gonna tell you straight. So I was like, seriously, like that actually happened? Like that? Like that's crazy, dude. Yeah.
Where was I gonna go? I was gonna go to this part. This really like this Declan. This creeped him out a little bit when we got the message that she's coming.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of got a little spooked from that one. That was kind of funny. I kind of did too because I was like, oh, I'm like, what topic, brother? Are you still here?
Topic, brother.
But I mean, I was kind of wondering too because that was like a weird. I kind of thought it was a weird warning maybe, but I wasn't sure because I'm not quite sure if I'm understanding a lot of times if things are warnings or if they're maybe residual or what they are. But when it said she's coming, I did kind of like. I mean, at first I was kind of like, okay. I mean, that's a little unnerving, but then I'm like, still, I'm trying to capture. If I can. Communicate. If I can encourage, I like to just say encourage, like activity.
Yeah.
I always try to, like, I have things communicate with me, telling me, you got a picture, are you recording? And I'm always like, yeah, come out for a photo. Let's get your photo. Let me get a photo of you. Let me get a picture, put you on video. So when it said she's coming, then I'm like, okay, all right, we got cameras. Like, come on over, let's see you.
Right.
At first, I was kind of like, it hit me like, oh, okay.
I'd say what could be more anxiety is if whatever like she is more negative, see that as like a challenge. Like, okay, right. I'm coming.
And that's why, like, when I made my intro, after this whole thing happened, I started thinking because I've had my devices tell me before that she killed me, and I've had devices in a way kind of telling me that. I think I maybe even heard something with like she's done something, and I've had that before there, and I started thinking like, wow, I'm like, maybe these have been, whatever's there has been telling me this from the beginning. Maybe there's something that they're warning me about. And then I saw whatever we saw, and then I'm thinking maybe that's what it was. Maybe maybe it is a she, because like some of the elementals I read about, they when they're summoned, they can take the form, or like some of them have a female form, and if the witch is a female, somehow I'm thinking that might have play part of it. So maybe when they say she's coming, maybe they meant whatever the hell we saw is what it was.
Yeah. My
friend
Chris
crazy
says,
ass hair or whatever it was that we saw. I don't know what it was.
I recorded a lot of ambient footage with the thermal video detector in the Fairy Plantation house. Then I went home with the worst migraine of my life. I remember that. He went home at like 4 o'clock in the morning with a terrible migraine. He says, perhaps ghost-induced, question mark? Maybe.
Well, you got a question from Roller Woman again, guys.
What is my favorite spirit detection device choice? No, I think, honestly, my favorite would be the laser temperature reader because it's just so fun to use. I just like walk around just like scanning. But I think I get the most results from my like EVP device. Like if you saw the EVP section of my fairy video, I was like, where are you hidden? Where are you from? Hell.
Yeah, that was kind of unnerving, man. When I saw that, and I'm like, oh, from hell. I'm like, that's just, cutting right to the chase.
Question: how do you leave the negativity there? Like, what do you mean negativity? Like leave without the negativity attaching to you? I mean, I don't know. I guess dumb luck. Oh, I don't know.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. It's okay, well, from what I've heard from other paranormal investigators, there's like two routes you can go to get spirits off you if a particularly nasty one attaches to you. I've seen people do like the Catholic way where they get like blessed by a preacher, they get the holy water, like that whole thing. Or you can do it the other way where you can use like kind of other methods of protection like spell
Sage.
and like sage, yeah, burning sage around you and your home, and blessing your house with just old remedies like salt and stuff like that. Now, I haven't had to do either. I haven't had to do either of those personally. But if it makes you feel any better, I do have sage, holy water, and several crucifixes. They're just all in my closet. So if I ever need to cleanse, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm on the Ramona protection plan.
Yeah, what's
For me,
that?
huh? Well, I follow a certain routine, like when I go and what I do, like saging myself before smudging. They call it smudging.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I smudge before I go anywhere, um, and I also say prayer, like say prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel. Um, and when I'm done, I also sage when I'm done.
Right.
And I say a prayer also when I leave, before I leave, and I make it very clear, which you've probably heard too, to make sure you let any spirits know or entities that they're not welcome to follow you, and they cannot follow you and not attach themselves to you. It's also good to make that known,
No.
before you leave somewhere, and then to cut off the communication, like when you're done and you go through that. Like this is an important thing for me too. When I'm done, and I'll I usually will say goodbye. Like you usually don't see a lot of stuff because a lot of that stuff people aren't really want to see. But I'll do that. I'll sage and I'll say goodbye, and then I'll make sure any spirits know they cannot attach themselves to me, and they have to stay here. And
Yeah.
then you have to stop. Like I don't even say anything else. I don't acknowledge the spirits at all. That's it. I kind of leave it at that. I want to make sure that it's like the cold shoulder, you could say, like turn them off. And that's kind of like how I turn it off when I'm done.
Yeah. Personally, I enter a location. I say I'm here to speak to you and perhaps catch some evidence of you. I don't mean to be disrespectful and I don't mean to intrude. And then on my way back out, I make sure I'm leaving. Goodbye. Do not follow me. Here's the boundary.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's always like your intent. To let your intent be known, like that. You're just like for me. I just like to spend time wherever I go. If there's spirits there, I just like to think of it as like I'm visiting, and I like to
Right.
let them know that I'm just there to communicate, give them a chance to talk to us or anybody, pass on a message, say whatever they like, and let them know that I'm just there to be a friend. I'm not there to
Aggro.
aggravate or antagonize them, and that's like, and I let them know that I show them the devices I have and how they can use them, and that's kind of like how I do it. But this is the medicine bag that Ramona gave me. This has got some sage and tobacco and some ingredients in it. I also wear this with me to help keep me protected too, in case something
And
bad tries to.
it's kind of a breath of fresh air in the because it's so like back when all the paranormal shows were going crazy, like Ghost Adventures and all those, and like late 2010s, early 2010s, where they took no protection measures. They just show up to a paranormal location and be like, try to aggravate and be like, "Are you listening to me?"
Yeah, I
Hey!
know. I know.
Uh,
I seen somebody try that on an investigation I did before, and that was the one time when nothing interacted with anything.
yeah, because like it's ghosts specifically. It's just dead people.
Yeah,
Just talk to a person. Would you walk up to a person trying to interact with them and be like, "Are you listening to me? I'm
yeah,
here." You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And it sounds sensitive too, which I've had, you know, Ramona and others, mediums talk to me, and they make it, they try to make they tried to inform me that it's very sound sensitive. Like the volume of things, which is why I think the music bothered someone there when I was playing the
Yeah.
music, because it was pretty loud. But it's very sound sensitive around him. Wherever you're at, if there's any kind of energy or spirits of someone still lingering, they're sound sensitive, and if you're there and you're loud and you're aggressive, unless you run into like an aggressive spirit, I guess it could get pretty angry.
Yeah.
But for the most part, from my experience, it seemed like soon as you tried to amp up the volume, who was doing it, it seemed like nothing wanted to interact. Everything got away from us.
Sorry, hold on. Ramona's talking in chat.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, just people. Wrong words. Would that be considered insulting? What should I refer to them as rather?
BV wrong. It's just people. I don't. Maybe. What did you? I don't know what you meant by that, Ramona. Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. What would be a more respectful way to refer to spirits? So.
Oh no, just people. Words. Josh was hiding.
Also, hold on. I saw them talking up here.
Yeah.
They said I mentioned about like
Soul
I have
connect
backup like
register.
smudging stuff and anointing oil and stuff. She said, that's why I asked. People say they know. Personally, I don't want to act like I know because I need to look more into like smudging and that type of thing because I don't want to just go smudging willy nilly and do something wrong and make everything
Oh
worse.
yeah, I could
You
I could
know?
help you. I could help you with that for sure. I could just. I mean, if
Yeah.
you could take it, and if if it makes sense, or if you just, I could just tell you how I do it,
Hmm.
and and then you could just absorb that, and if you think it's something you want to do, I just, I took like Ramona's advice because I had zero really experience doing this, and
Right.
after my experience seeing that somehow a spirit can get into my cell phone and go
Right.
with me and then talk to me through it, that made me realize, wow, like something had the ability to put itself into a device and communicate with me. So there's no doubt that somehow whatever that was that did that can possibly do that to you,
Hmm.
or do something to you. And so I have always had like this little bit of, slight respect for the ability or possibility of what they could do, or what spirit or what energy could do to you.
Hmm.
So I kind of I relied. I got a lot of help from Ramona. She's helped me out a lot with things. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I could definitely just give you just some of the stuff that it's just basic stuff that she kind of helped me with that I kind of follow as a routine just to help, because too much is probably not that bad.
Um. Well, I was gonna say, Roller Woman says, um, maybe WTCW could use some of your medicine
Medicine bags,
bags
yeah.
at Mona. Maybe if you teach me how to use. Yeah. Mike is protected by me and all my medicine. I mean, I believe. I'm elder. I don't want to see a young man get ill. Um. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the concern.
Yeah.
Uh, some people's soul can't rest. So, okay, so I shouldn't refer them as dead people.
Oh,
Cause
okay. I see what she means now.
yeah, because their soul
Yes.
can't rest. I understand. I mean, I would never say that at a haunted location, like you're just dead people, but I get it. It
Hey,
says
Bigfoot
right, you
Mama.
always have to be safe. That's true. You can never be too safe. You can
Yeah.
never be,
Yeah.
especially messing with stuff that us humans, even after thousands of years, still don't understand, which is the paranormal.
Yeah. Hey, Bigfoot Mama. I got William here. William's on from WTCW Paranormal. He's got a YouTube channel, and he does some cryptid too. Some
Yep,
cryptid
yep.
zoology. Now, Bigfoot Mama, she's big into Sasquatch.
Got you. Yeah, I made my Bigfoot video. I'm like semi-educated about him. Like I know maybe slightly more than the average person. But I was honestly when I was investigating, like investigating. I was like just walking around the forest, seeing if I could catch any evidence, that type of thing. Um, I was more anxious of wild animals than of seeing Bigfoot. Because where I was in a place called Panther Falls. If you look at Panther Falls, there's a big bear problem, big time. So I was like, man, I don't want to be out here walking around at night and get mauled by a bear.
Yeah, Roller Woman had a question for you too.
Oh, sorry. How did the four of you discover the others had an interest in the paranormal? He came up with the idea to form the group Take to YouTube. Actually, I'm really, now we all have a certain interest in the paranormal, but I'm definitely the one who kind of pushes the idea because I think as an investigator, I think it's good to see all perspectives, right? So I have people in the group like Tate. He does. I don't even know if he believes in ghosts at all. So when you have all sides of the coin in on a group, it's kind of helps you get a better view of what might be evidence or what might be, whatever else it could be. But generally, I started the group. I put it on YouTube. I edit all that. It's mostly me, but they're still treasured members of the team, obviously.
Yeah, and here's some of the stuff from this channel here. This
Yep.
was pretty interesting. I like this. It seemed like it was pretty busy when you went, but the Eastern State Penitentiary,
Yeah.
that
It
place
was.
that place is infamous, man.
Yeah, I wanted to do like an investigation, but so what happened was they were doing this thing called Halloween Nights, where essentially they set up a bunch of like haunted houses,
Oh
the
yeah,
ones you.
yeah. They do that at the main penitentiary over here too.
Yeah, I was actually gonna go to two infamous haunted places. I was gonna go to Penhurst and Eastern State, but Penhurst Asylum was closed that night, so I was like, dang.
This old one's
But
called the Mansfield Reformatory or the Ohio State Penitentiary. That's the one they do
yeah,
like the same Halloween thing.
yeah. So I was like, well, I mean, if I can't do an investigation, but I can do what I usually do, which is try and educate people on the history and make an entertaining video. So I just kind of filmed my journey through Philadelphia
Yeah,
and
it was a good video.
about,
It looked entertaining,
yeah,
like a good time there. I mean,
talked about some history. Went into that abandoned school building.
oh yeah, that was creepy.
That building is creepy
Yeah,
though,
that was a
seriously,
pretty creepy
big
building.
time. But I want to go back there at some point and try and do an investigation at that school. But what sucks about it is, so on the way there we visited, and that's when I recorded. So I was gonna go there on the way back again to get more footage. Literally one day later, they install a security camera, like right on the front door. So I was like, man,
I have a plan. My next two places I want to go, which I'm working with Josh over at Squatch Topic PA to go
mm-hmm.
over there to see or to visit the 10 Mile Church and that area that was part of the battleground. It was the Lord Dunmore's War of 1774. That area
Right.
with the unmarked graves and where they're at. I'm going to go do an investigation there. And I also have contacted the Buxton Inn, which is in the top 50 most haunted hotels in the U.S. And I think they're
Oh,
like rated number 4. They have rooms 7 and 9, which are their two big hotspot rooms. And I was in contact with the Jennifer from there, and I'm trying to get that set up. But they had a kitchen fire, and
mm-hmm.
somehow that fire spread to part of those two rooms. So they said not till after January before they're going to open those rooms up for people to check them out. But I'm going to stay in touch with her because I'd like to set that up because that sounds like that would be a really cool place to go. And some of the history there and the paranormal activity, especially in those two rooms, seems like it'd be cool.
Yeah, I have
And there it
like
is. I've got it here on this part.
two big videos coming up here. I am in contact with so there's this place that I live nearby. It's this like kind of what's it called? A country club. And there's this farmhouse on the country club and apparently it's haunted. Now, apparently, I got into contact with the person who actually owns it by chance. So I was talking to her about it, and she says, I know it's haunted because my father renovated it, and, we saw things that I couldn't even explain to you right now. And since I own it, if you talk to the people currently renting it out and say that I gave you, or like the green light as long as they agreed, then, I can make a video there and do an investigation. So that's one big thing I've come in. And then the other big thing is I want to go to the Cavalier, which is a haunted hotel in Virginia. I can actually send you a link to a website about
Okay,
it.
I'll have to check it out. The Cavalier?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, here's some information about the Lord Dunmore's War, too. Whoops, what am I doing? Oh, what's this here? Did Jennifer imply that the kitchen fire was suspicious?
Hold on. I just dropped the link.
Okay.
Yeah.
What place, Bigfoot Mama, were you saying the Buxton Inn? That was the place that I was talking about. Here you go. This is it right here. I don't know if you could see it.
She says, learning the local history
Oh
is
wait, I scrolled
excellent,
off of it. Sorry.
regardless of belief or skepticism. Yes, I think learning history is very important, regardless if you believe in ghosts or not. It's a good thing to know.
Yeah, she didn't really talk about the fire, Road or Woman. She didn't really talk about it being suspicious or not, but she said though it was pretty. I guess it was pretty extensive, but they were able to get it contained before it did a lot of damage. But I guess it sounds suspicious, right? The fire was in the two. It impacted the two rooms that are the ones that are known for paranormal activity. Yep, that is suspicious. You're right. Here it is, right here. It's called. It's over in Granville, which is by Columbus, Ohio. It's like 3 hours from me, but I'd go for that. I'd definitely make the trip there. And I talked to. Well, actually, I don't. I haven't actually mentioned this to Declan. Well, he knows I was thinking about it, but I was going to ask him if he'd maybe planned that trip. But yeah, there's these two rooms have different entities and different spirits that are known to be in them too. Apparition of Granger, Major Horton Buxton, who the inn was named after, and the Blue Lady, Bonnie Bunnell, former innkeeper. And then in 7, there seems to be some darker entity, which sounds pretty interesting. Makes
Chris
people
said,
feel discomfort and all kinds of weird feelings from people in this room. So I'd like to go to that place and check this place out.
Chris says, the history is what I find most interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah, even beyond finding evidence of the paranormal.
Yeah.
Something bring little forgotten fragments of the past is simply enthralling to me.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I've always been kind of like, especially when it comes to battles. Like I was always when I was in school, when I had any projects in history, I usually would try to find something that had to do with like historic battles. I was always like, I always had a lot of interest in that because, I've spent probably about 14 total years in the military, and I always think about the past and the different kinds of conflicts and the different ways that combat happened, and it's like it's almost like hard to imagine the things of the past and what combat was like and what battles were like. So I was always fascinated with like the Civil War and all the wars from the past, and I was just like, I was always hooked on history with that.
I dropped the link to the like information about the Cavalier in chat if you want to copy and look that up.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it's like pretty haunted. It's apparently the most haunted place in Virginia Beach, according to some lists I've seen. So, and I talked to Vappy, and they said they had some pretty cool stuff happening there as well.
Let me take a look here. What was the name again?
The Cavalier Hotel. I dropped the link in chat if you
Did
just
you?
want to
I didn't see it. Oh wait.
just look up Cavalier Hotel or like Neptune Ghosts Cavalier, something like that.
There you go, Virginia Beach.
Yep. And then, yeah, do you see? Just look up Neptune Ghosts, like after
Oh,
that.
you know what? Did I look this up once before? Didn't you? I think I remember something about the Neptune. You were
Yeah,
talking about Neptune.
Looked at Elbow Road.
Oh, okay.
They have a bunch of haunted locations that I live nearby, so they're like my go-to for stuff.
Neptune Ghosts.
Yep.
Oh wait, this is okay. Elbow Road, Cavalier
Yes.
Hotel. Here you go.
Oh yeah, there's Fair Plantation, Cavalier.
Yep. Elbow Road. Those are your places.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Dylan, you're back.
I couldn't end up filming on Elbow Road though, because a bunch of the land that people used to be able to just hang out on got bought out and private property. I was like, well, don't want to get arrested, so.
Started in 1926 and up to beautiful hotel. Many ghosts, huh?
You still there, Ramona? Welcome back, Dialogue.
Hey Ramona, you still hanging out? Let's see. Okay. I'm looking to see what some of the, here we go, the ghosts of Cavalier Hotel. So many stories of ghosts roaming the halls. Time of death, really? Replay their time of death. I've heard of that happening. Haunted elevators. That sounds dangerous.
Oh, dude. If you look on my channel, I have I'm gonna go to this hotel called the Glasslight Hotel, and I talked to my sister Sage in the video. So she told me she had this crazy experience with this elevator where it literally there's 11th floor, but you can't get to it through the stairwell. Like the stairs just lead into nothing.
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar too.
Yeah. So
Roller asked you, what was the spookiest location, place either of you or your crews ever investigated to date?
let me think. Trying to think. The Fair Plantation House actually isn't that intimidating when you look at it. It has ghosts definitely, but it's actually quite nice looking. So definitely not that. I'd probably say if you've seen my Keegan's Tunnel video, that was pretty scary because that was literally just like a drain system, and it just got like.
I watched that one too. Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that was probably the spookiest place?
Probably, but I didn't get that much evidence. But it was still like just scary in general.
She asked me too. Well, out of the places, I haven't gone to too many places, but the places that I've been at, I think probably right over there by that pressing site was the spookiest. I think the first time I was there by myself for that live one, I think I was a little bit on edge there because, you know, when I was there before with somebody, it didn't seem to be like as dark as when I went there myself. I just started realizing, I'm like, wow, I'm like, this place is ridiculously dark. I'm like, there's absolutely no light anywhere. And then like when I'm getting ready to leave, and then all of a sudden I hear weird bangs coming from the hillside, and then I start like getting a little pucker factor and start hauling out of there. But yeah, I'd say that's been it. Every time I go there, I enjoy it, but I still have like that little bit of on edgeness to me when I'm there.
Yeah. Especially after hearing
Tell
don't
me not
don't
to
ever
go
even
back there
try it
again.
again.
Yeah. That was a little. I kind of was like, I don't want to. I'm like, man, I don't want to hear that. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's got to be something we can
That's
compromise here. I'm like, I got
that's
to go back.
like as a paranormal investigator, hearing someone say you shouldn't go to a certain place because it's haunted, immediately you're like, oh, you want me to go there then?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean when you have like a pretty reliable medium say that he's seen a devil looking like elemental that was the most terrifying thing he's ever seen in his life, and for me never to go back there again, I was kind of like, ooh, I'm like, okay, I guess that's a good reason to tell me not to go back, but I was kind of like disappointed. I'm like, really? I'm like, but I have to go back there again. I'm like, maybe it just
Yeah,
didn't like you because you were trying to find it and it didn't want you to find it. I'm like, maybe it'll leave me alone.
man. When you were telling me the story over the phone, cracking up so bad. You remember you told me never to go back there again. So the next morning I was there and I was like,
Yeah, I went back there again. I'm like, I know. I'm like,
I
Tim.
don't blame.
That's Tim. I told Tim, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm probably gonna go back there though.
I don't blame you. I don't. I mean, I get curiosity.
But I think what I seen was what he's talking about. I really have a feeling what I seen. There's my rat cat. Did you see him back there?
But
Um,
yep, back there. Is
he's
that
the
is
pantsless
that
cat.
a cat or is it a ferret?
No, I call him.
I,
I call him the. I nicknamed him. I always give him nicknames, and now I call
I
him. I call him Rat Zass
I thought he was
because
a ferret because
he's
he's
got like no
gray.
hair on his butt.
My
He
my
had.
cat's been pestering me the whole stream. Like, and I don't know if you noticed me looking down. It's because she keeps trying to climb on me. She's clawing my legs.
His name's Jimmy. That's Jimmy. I've got two cats. That's one of them. But
Yeah, I
he lost a lot of his hair, and it was all around his like hind end. So it looks like he's got this rat butt. So I call him Rat Cat.
Alright, cat. I have a cat named Allie, and we named her that because she's literally a street cat that we found on the street and adopted. So she's an alley cat.
The other one's Timmy. I got Timmy and Jimmy. I named them after the South Park kids.
Now you got to get a Cartman.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm good. They're siblings. There he is up here. Let me get him here. You do look like a ferret. Come here, little ferret.
I looked in the background. I was like, you got a ferret, man?
There he is, the biggest ferret you've ever seen. With no pants. I call him No Pants. Jimmy No Pants. Poor kid.
Yeah.
He's got to grow that hair back.
Did he have some type of or did he just fall off?
Well, a while back, he was the one that always would get out, and he got fleas. And then I've had to treat him and treat him again. And I think something happened, or he's allergic, and his hair like stopped growing back on his back end.
Oh
So
man.
now he looks like a rat or a ferret or something.
My friend said gobble line.
Goblin.
Thinking, gob-
He looked like a goblin. I guess he looks like a lot of stuff.
like a
I
little
got all kinds
gobble.
of nicknames for him now.
I gotta get my cat. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, I got some new toys too. I got to show anybody who's interested. Well, I got those cat toys, right? The cat toys that I use in the videos that illuminate. Well, I got these bigger versions
Mhm.
that I'm gonna bring with me because I think they'll be a little bit more visible. But they're not as sensitive as the cat toys. So if something actually sets these off, because these need a pretty good impact. But you
Yeah.
got to give them a good shake. Those cat toys are a little bit more sensitive, so you know.
Ah, there she is.
Oh, joint investigation. Yeah,
Hmm?
I tell you that would be cool. I mean, we talked about it, but that's something that he's in Virginia. They're in Virginia, so I mean, we got some distance.
Yeah.
But I mean, at some point that'd be cool. I wouldn't
That's-
mind doing that.
Yeah, maybe at some point in the future,
Yeah.
I believe the native kids will like
Oh
it.
yeah. Well, they always seem to like those little ones.
Mhm.
I have a feeling that the little kids are native kids there. Because I get messages about children here and children playing. I get that a lot there. And it seems like when they're on the ground, they're interacted with a lot. I've had a lot of interactions with those cat toys on the ground.
Yeah.
And then I've had them say adult to me before. And I've got EVPs that sound like children's voices. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
there's children there around the cemetery where I go, and the one message said Dad, and I had an EVP there in the same spot that said Daddy before. So I
mm,
think there's small children spirits there, and
yeah.
cute kitty, yeah, cute pantsless kitty. And there's the
I was
big
like,
one. There goes the big one. That's Timmy.
there's
So
a
they,
lot of like native in Virginia, since Virginia is like like a super old state. There's a lot of history here. Like one of the first states the colonizers landed on, right?
yeah.
So there's so many like Indian burial grounds and there's like
Hmm.
all stuff like that. Like the Ferry Plantation House is literally located on the Indian burial ground. I think I told you that,
Ooh,
right?
yeah, yeah. I remember that in the video. I think you mentioned that too.
Yeah, they dug up. I got to see it with my own eyes. It was crazy. They previously at the house they dug up. My bus. My husband wants to buy a house in Virginia. Go for it. It's pretty nice out here. I mean, it's quiet. It's no like city, but it's nice. They literally dug up like arrowheads, like
Oh yeah,
arrow that Native Americans would use. They're like this bag, and there's like 15 of them. Now, I didn't touch them because I didn't want to, mess with any.
yeah,
I didn't mess with any spirits or anything like that. I was like, cool.
yeah. There. Josh sent me a picture. He found one where he was
Hmm.
at. He sent me a picture showing me some of an arrowhead that he found. But
Yeah.
that's like the Hopewell Mound that they have over here in the park. They determined that the the remains go back to 300 BC to 600 AD, and they
Mm.
found lots of antiques and lots of artifacts with a couple of the bodies that were buried there. They were buried specially with like a
Mm.
stone casket, and they were preserved better. And they had a lot of like cool, a lot of like prestigious like antiques with them, like they were of important significance. That's why like they call the Indian princess. The legend of her is one of the two that they unearthed at the burial mound, and they it was like 1934. The guy who owned it accidentally unearthed it, and once they realized what it was, he actually made an exhibit out of it, and he put her body up on exhibit, and people were stealing items from it. Actually, stole parts of her bones and her teeth, and
Oh,
they say
that
that her spirit like is still not at rest there, and
I, I
they
feel
call
like
her
that
the
is
Indian
like some
princess. Yeah,
serious juju just doing
yeah.
that.
That's why like that area is kind of popular and why I've gone there, because like with the constant movement, because it's open to go up the mound and down. It's not like closed off to where you can't walk on it. You can walk
Hmm.
on it, and being that it's open for anybody to just keep moving around on, I would imagine that if there's spirits that are protective of it, they're probably not very happy with the constant flow of people and the history of it being unearthed with all of the moving of the bodies. Seems like there'd be a lot of activity there.
Terrible desecration. Seriously,
Yeah,
putting on display and having people steal it. Like,
yeah. He
Jesus.
buried her once it like became apparent, and like he said that once he realized that that was being done, they wrapped her back up, and they put her back. Well, I think they never unwrapped her, but she was wrapped
Mhm.
in a special kind of wrapping. They put her back in the tomb and closed it back up and reburied it.
Yeah.
So once like I guess that was like a trial, and then he realized this
I
was a
feel
bad
like
idea.
I feel like the damage may have already been done.
Yeah,
Like
right. And that's why there's like they say there's so much activity
I said,
there.
I bet they definitely pissed something off there by doing that.
Yeah,
No
and I've
doubt.
never had so much activity with REM pod interaction as I had there. Like that was crazy. And the
Yeah.
EVPs are nuts there. Like that EVP of that like native was just like it's so like clear. It sounds like he's standing right over by us.
I still need a REM pod. You didn't send me the link to that eBay page with
Oh,
the
it's called the Attic Junkie. If you just
ad.
search for the Attic Junkie on eBay, you'll find their store.
Yeah, I need to seriously because I'm not working with a ton of
Because
money.
those little REM pods are like $20, and they work just like the big one, except they're just pretty simple. Just a little electromagnetic field. It doesn't have like the temperature thing and stuff like the expensive one.
And gets the job done.
Yeah, and they have that whole store is dedicated to paranormal research equipment.
Here it is. Is it Attic Junkie Paranormal or just
Yeah,
Attic?
Attic Junkie Paranormal. That should be what it is. Let me take a look at it.
Oh, it says the store is inactive. Let me try this again.
The Attic Junkie Paranormal Supplies.
Here we go. At REM Pod Ghost Hunting.
Yeah, it looks just like that. Just a little handheld one.
$40, $5 shipping. Not terrible.
Was it 40?
Yeah, it's 40 with $5.25 shipping. Obviously, that changes depending on where you are, but
Okay. I swear they weren't that much when I bought them.
I mean, it's not terrible compared to like the big fancy
yeah.
one.
The
Those
big
ones
REM pods
probably.
are 150 to $200.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, that one I bought was 150, and that was like on the lower scale. Oh,
And
the main one. You see that main one that everybody uses. That one's on there too. It's about 180.
inflation's going crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just say.
Wow, we've been rolling for a while, man. We're rolling on 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap! What do we got? We got a few handful hanging out with us still. Roller still hanging out.
We
Ramona.
we haven't dipped under 5 at all since
Yeah.
like we started. So.
Well, I didn't realize that the cameraman's got his, which I got a link for his site too. His channel's great. He's got a great channel. He does a lot of hunts for Bigfoot, and he's got some really good ones. They travel around.
Here, yeah.
Yeah, rollers here. Yeah, and that's the cameraman and crew. Like on my page for my YouTube, there's a link for his. Like I got yours on there and some others, but he was doing a premiere tonight. He started his premiere about 7:30. And
Yeah.
I know most of the people who follow me follow him too. His name's Jack. And with his premiere and everything, I was kind of like, I didn't realize it, and I'm like, I guess this probably wasn't the ideal time to do a live stream because, a lot of people
Yeah.
watch his live streams. He does some live streams, but yeah, if you like watching like that, his are awesome.
What was I gonna say?
He's got some good stuff.
We've been rolling for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll answer a few questions.
Yeah, if you're ready, I think we've covered pretty much everything we were going to talk about.
Yep, future investigations, talking about cleansing, all that stuff. Touched all the bases. So
Yeah.
any
more
further
questions for anybody? Anybody want to ask me or William or any of the other letters?
Yep, all here. I don't know if the other letters are here, but I'm here, so
Yeah.
yep, I'm all ears. So shoot some at me.
Let me see what we got here. Buxton Inn. I can't wait to go to that place. I can't wait to go over to where Sasquatch, PA, or Josh.
I will answer any question.
Poorly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Still here.
Still here. Okay, so the other letters are.
All right. We got 3 letters here.
Yep, still missing Tate. He never showed up.
All right, Dylan.
Yep.
Good night, buddy.
Good night.
Have a good one, man.
Bye.
Tell your mom I hope she feels better, and tell her to watch us sometime. Well, let me see. I didn't even think of any. Tate said he was hungry or some. I think that you guys answered it because I wanted to know more about how you came together, but I think Roller Woman and some other people asked about it.
What is WTCW's next plan? That farmhouse I was talking about. It was a few minutes ago. I happened to meet the owner of a allegedly haunted farmhouse, and that's gonna be my next big gig. Like that's gonna be my next fairy plantation. I'm gonna try and get all the letters together on that investigation.
Mm-hmm. Get the whole team.
I think. What did you say?
Get the whole team.
That'd be the whole team on that investigation, and it's gonna be a big one. But it might take a while because my fairy plantation house. I think the time between part 1 and part 2 was like 2 months or 3 months. So, but it'll be sooner than you think. Okay, the farmhouse, nice, and thank you both. Of course.
Anytime.
Um,
I was gonna go another place that I can go to soon, which I'm gonna try to go because the weather's still hanging in there with us here. It still hasn't gotten really bad yet, so I'm trying
yeah,
to like get going because most of the places I go are kind of outdoors. I'm gonna go back
right.
to Helltown to the slaughterhouse and film there, and that's probably gonna be. I mean, that's my easiest accessible place to go to right now. And
Man,
Moonville Tunnel. Moonville Tunnel is another top haunted place in Ohio, and that's. I had a route planned to go to the Buxton Inn and Moonville Tunnel because they're kind of close to each other. So
right.
I was planning a road trip to maybe cover those bases.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Ectomobile, the Dodge Caravan.
Yeah, Dodge Caravan. Yeah, he has a van. Maybe we'll give it like a little Ghostbusters makeover.
Get your
Um,
initials on it.
yeah, WTCW.
Yeah,
What was
or
I
we
gonna
could get
say?
like a radio station.
I need or two from you, man, because I'm terrible at outdoor investigations. Because I never know where to start. I kind of just walk around awkwardly, like, is anyone here?
Oh, well, the places I went to, I started finding where to go, like by seeing where the EMF detector, like the West
Go,
Branch, kind of like the EMF detector led us to where we're at, where I go there now.
yeah.
Those places kind of like the EMF activity down, like you didn't, nothing happened on EMF detector, which was rare. That's something else I just realized down there. But that, if you see the other videos I've been at, or even if some from the other channel, the EMF activity down there is like it's usually insane there. Like there's so many heavy spikes on it constantly.
Yeah, I actually got some EMF activity yesterday when I was on the pipe with at Elizabeth River because
Okay.
I don't get a lot of EMF for some reason, but I think we found a hot spot because normally like neutral EMF, at least on my device, is like 50 about. It's kind of sensitive. As soon as I got on the pipe, it like shot at up to like 70 and just
Hmm.
stayed there like the entire time,
Yeah.
and then I went back down to 50.
Well, I've seen. I'm trying to remember what ghost team. It was a big channel or a big program. Um, it may have been
But
Ghost Hunters.
hmm?
I saw them debunk or show what caused activity on a certain level of a house because the water produces EMF too. Water can do that.
Oh yeah, because electromagnetic current.
Yeah, and it was actually they were reading EMF on the second level, and here they had a theory about it, and they measured it, and they were actually able to measure it all the way from outside the house down to the water source, and it was like actually emitting it up to the house.
Hmm.
And it was, I mean, that can cause activity, and I that's the story of my house where I used to live at, where I had that activity seemed to
Yeah.
correspond right where, because I had old uninsulated wiring in a section, and that trail where the uninsulated wiring was just radiated EMF pretty strong, and it was
Hmm.
like causing paranormal activity
And
just from
people
that
have
trail.
theorized that, like, if you have a demonic infestation, like infestation where it stays in one spot, and like that's where it is.
Yeah.
Where there was, where is it? There's a famous haunted house. I think it's called the Sally House. They have a demonic infestation in their basement, which causes all the activity. And the basement literally has the generator creating like a crap ton of EMF
Yeah.
in that room. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
But
I've seen that firsthand with the EMF being radiated through old wiring that wasn't insulated,
mhm.
causing like a trail of activity that followed it. And I kept thinking that can't be a coincidence.
Right.
It's like a battery source. It's like energizing whatever's there somehow is like it's like feeding off of it, you know?
I'm just waiting for the day when paranormal research becomes an actual branch of science. Right?
Yeah, I
Because
guess I'm
I
kind of just enjoying figuring it out on my own now, and I'm like I'm cool with it. Like,
No, I mean I like it how it is now with like the kind of tight knit community and just trying to figure out the truth about it.
yeah,
But I'm just wondering, like, will we ever reach a point where we get evidence so concrete that it could actually be considered like a branch of science, the same way like biology and chemistry is?
yeah.
You know?
EVPs or something to me. That's that's a pretty that's something that you almost can't like write it off.
Explain.
You almost can't write it off as like being like a shadow being something else, or
Right.
something setting off a device being something else. When you actually hear voices speaking to you, or speaking, that
Right.
weren't there at the time, but now they're here on a device somehow recorded. You can't just say that that's explainable, because how can you explain that? It's like you can't. And that's like some evidence that I don't know who can really deny it, or who can like try to say that it's not
Yeah.
something paranormal.
I would say everyone who doesn't take EVP seriously has never caught an EVP on camera.
Yeah.
Because I think the first time you get like a real EVP, like you ask a question and then hear an answer
Yeah.
on the recording with, that's when you're like, okay, I can't, you
Oh,
know?
when I told you that first experience about when I had the phone incident.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, I remembered that I had my phone sitting there that time I did the investigation, and I'm like, holy crap! I'm like, something happened when I had my phone there, and I saw the
right,
EMF spike. Then I decided to listen to that recording that I did that time, because I'd never listened to that recording. And right at the
right.
very end of that recording, I heard an EVP of a man's voice, and he answered me. And it was right at the very end. And I would
Mm,
go in my basement there, and I would talk to I would ask questions and say things, and that guy would answer me several
right.
times when I'd go down there. I'd hear his voice answer me. It was crazy. That
Mm,
that was another thing too. That just started like my interest started just like getting like it just started
yeah.
growing and growing. I'm like, wow, I'm like, how is this happening?
You ever wish you could go back now, like with the knowledge that you have now and investigate that house, you know?
I don't know. My at that time, like I said, I was married. My ex-wife, like, she made me stop, because it also, I learned too that you can like cause activity to continue or to amplify because
Oh,
of the interest,
that's
and because of the pursuing of it.
paying attention and pursuing and just paying mind to little paranormal activity I've noticed causes it to just
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's you could have like theories about why. It could be because somehow your interaction is actually giving it energy, which is like
that,
making something
that
now can interact when it didn't have the ability to. You know, that's like seems to be the most reasonable
that's
cause.
like really accepted
So
theory.
yeah, I got shut down though. Like my interest started spiking more and more, and I kept wanting to like do more. And then my at the time my ex-wife, my wife at the time, she was like, "We got to stop. We can't keep." They wanted, and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "You're right." I'm like, "I want this neutralized
But
because I
yeah,
had some
you gotta be
concerns."
careful. Activities in your home, you do not want to stroke that thing's
Yeah,
power
right.
because then it makes your life unlivable.
Yeah, and we did, and we stopped, and I just stopped, and then eventually all the little things started going away,
Mhm.
and that was how I got left at. And
Yeah.
that was like that was probably like 2015 when that happened, 2014, 2015 when I went through that. But I always had that interest there. Like I always had that still, and
Yeah,
then
in the back
I got the
kind
chance
of.
to pursue it. And once I got the chance to pursue it, I started, and I was just like, okay, this is I like doing this. I'm gonna keep doing it, and now I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah, and I mean it's working, doing something right. I mean, I remember your sub count has literally like doubled almost since when I first called you on the phone like a week ago, you know?
Yeah, that West Branch Witch video, like I said, it's that YouTube recommendation algorithm.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
whatever started it, if it was just the recommendations, or the likes
Hmm.
and the sharing, something that
Hmm.
has been happening has been triggering it.
Yeah, something
I was reading
sometimes
about it.
that just likes to sweep you up. It's like a weird occurrence that happens. Like sometimes on YouTube, there'll be videos that came out like 10 years ago that had like 4 views, and then out of nowhere, it's like now you see it on your home page recommended. It has like 2 million, and everyone's in the comments like, "Why am I just now seeing this?"
It was fun. I didn't even know that like one of my videos would get that many views. And then once the shorts thing started, I've been doing shorts, and I try to do a short to correspond with the video when I release it too. Like I'll put out a short kind of promoting the video, and
I was
because I read that
well,
that was something that there was some. It was kind of like suggested through some of the content creators that make content to help content creators. I watched one, and that was a big thing. They said to do is to do shorts to help promote, like if you're putting regular videos out.
yeah, I might have to try that because I had a TikTok page for WTCW because I know TikTok is a
I
little
have one
bit
too.
more popular than Shorts is, but since it's different platforms, it might not translate as well.
Well, I put it up there. I went on TikTok, and I do the same thing. The shorts that I post on one, I'll post on the other.
Yeah,
And then I try to just make sure that my channel's on there somewhere, so that way
yeah,
they can find me if they want to come see my YouTube stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been streaming
Oh yeah,
for
too long, huh? 2:15.
a long time,
Yeah.
so
We'll have to end it, huh?
yeah, we'll close up shop here in a second. Final questions, final goodbyes. Shoot
I'm pretty
us.
sure everybody's shot.
Yep. Give your best shot.
I'm pretty sure everybody's spent now.
As everyone's falling asleep here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it then. Say
Yep.
goodnight. Say goodnight to everybody, whoever's still hanging in there.
Yep. All right. Bye, everybody.
Will,
Oh, another
still
W.
awake.
Bye.
Roller Woman, you're still there? All right. Good night.
Woman.
Good night, Roller Woman.
Yep.
You too. Have a good one.
Yep. Yep.
All right, William. And who else? Was it CW?
Yep. Yep. It's Chris
Chris and Will.
here.
All right. Good night, guys, and good night, everybody.
All right,
Good night,
everybody. Had a good stream.
Yep. I'll stay in touch.
Yep.